Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm joined here today by a very special guest. I'm here with former WBO middleweight and super middleweight champion, Steve Collins. Steve, it's a great honor to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here.
The pleasure is all ours. Okay, Steve, let's get down to business. Okay, Roy Jones Jr. Okay, over the past few months, there's been so much talk about you coming out of retirement, facing Roy Jones for this one-off fight. How close is this fight to being made?
Um, it's close, and then it got very close, and then it didn't get so close. But at the moment, we now have a couple of irons in the fire. There's the most recent one's come up, which totally surprised me. Is in Vegas. There's a very strong possibility of it happening out there. As we speak right now, there's also negotiations going on for the Middle East. There's also another guy who's got a venue booked in the UK with belief that he's going to put her on. So, there's lots of people out there plugging away to put her on. There's no doubt the public interest is there, and the public want to see it. And I suppose other than that, we also have a great undercard to put on the show. So all around it would be a great event. But yeah, it's very close. It's getting very close, but it's just going to be quiet at the moment and waiting for people to come back.
So would you say? I mean, we know you got your license back, which is obviously a big step towards the fight happening. Realistically, can you see it happening this year, or would it be sometime in 2014?
I think it has to happen this year. I mean, my license is a 12-month license. They gave me a year, so I've got a year for it to happen. I'm 6 months into the year already. So if it doesn't happen by Christmas, to reapply for my license again next year, they may not want me to reapply, or something might be changed. I don't know, but I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I thought by now it could have even almost be happening by now, or have happened by now. But it's not dead in the water. I can tell you that. There's a couple of more interesting parties that have come on board, which are for real. And as a matter of fact, I made a call with someone today, and they dropped in someone else's lap who could be also interested in getting involved in it. So it's the glue we need for the whole thing to happen is for someone to win an investor to put the money up.
Sure.
There's lots of investors saying they're interested in putting it up, providing they get the guarantees, but they haven't actually put the money up yet. So.
So would this could this possibly be like a joint venture with Roy Jones' promotional company Square Ring?
I don't think so. I think it's just Roy Jones knows what he wants for the fight. He's mentioned the figure. I believe he would be happy to get. I'm turning around and said, well, that's what he wants. I want the same. But you're open to negotiations,
I mean, Roy Jones is famous for saying, if it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense.
He's absolutely right. What's the point in getting out and smashing each other up for nothing? We don't need it. There's no point in doing it then. We are professional fighters. If the media interest is there and the public interest is there, the public are going to see it. The media is going to produce it and show it. So they're going to make their revenue. So why should we not get a piece of it?
Sure. Now this fight, from what I've heard, has caused a bit of division even within your own family. I heard your brother Pascal was going to be training you, but then your brother Roddy was maybe more keen on you staying retired. So what in general has been the feeling from, say, the rest of your family and your friends?
I've only got support from family. I haven't heard of anybody saying anything other than, when's it happening? I'm looking forward to it and I'm going to win. I'm not worried of anybody with any other opinion.
So this is just a tabloid talk. There's no truth in that. You think your family's 100% behind you?
Well, they haven't said anything any different to me. I mean, concern is obviously there, but support 100% is what I get. And it's because they know what I'm capable of and they know what I'm like, and it's because they know I can do it. If there was any doubt, I would hear it. I'm lucky I have the great support from my family. My wife supports me and she understands, and in my corner, obviously the concern is always there. It's been there since day one. It's there when you're an amateur. It's there no matter how long or what stage you're at in your career. The concern and worry is always there, but support is the most important thing, and I have that only 100%.
Okay, that's good. Okay, bear in mind you did retire in 1997, and
long ago, wasn't it?
It doesn't seem that long, does it? No, it doesn't seem that long ago since you were at the Kelvin Hall, let's say, for your last fight. But let's say, yeah, it was 1997, and a lot of people have said maybe Roy Jones might be about 10 years past his prime. So when you consider those two factors, how serious do you think the boxing world will take this contest?
I don't consider what a lot of people say, because a lot of people don't know what they're talking about, and the media can make what you wish out of things. Media, people, you can fool the people. And the media has opinions. At the end of the day, it's a fight people want to see. I've absolutely no doubt the interest is there. Everybody's got opinions, but then everybody has a backside. That's just a fact of life. Regardless of opinions, whether the opinion is positive or negative, for or against, they'll tune in. And that's all we want. We want people to tune in, because people tuning in will pay for the fight and make it a reality.
Yeah, like you say, I mean, it's certainly an attraction. Whether people are watching for whatever reason, people will tune in.
Well, you got guys like Bernard Hopkins, who's the same age as me, 48 years old, beating up young guys for the light heavyweight championship of the world in the last couple of months. It's our middle-aged generation now starting to get a bit cocky now. They see people like me coming back. They see guys like Bernard Hopkins winning fights, and they look at guys like Roy Jones in their mid-40s, and they say, well, hang on a minute, I'm not written off. I can still do it. So people are getting out and believing in themselves, and not writing themselves off in their middle age anymore, that whether it's getting involved in playing, football at a low level, or getting involved in white collar boxing, or doing marathon running. It just tells people, don't write yourself off, because if you believe in yourself and you live right and you work hard, you can last a hell of a lot longer. And I'm flying that flag,
So obviously, you mentioned Bernard Hopkins there. I mean, I think he set the record for being the oldest world champion at 48. I mean, how much of that motivated your comeback?
Well, my comeback was already in the process. That just made it more acceptable, and he done us a favour. It makes it more a reality. So people bring up the age thing, and say, that's fine, but look at him. So he kind of done us all a favour. He kind of answered that question and put a stop to that.
Yeah, good stuff.
Whinge.
Yeah. So I was going to say, obviously, you were trained during your career by Freddie Roach, obviously regarded as one of the best trainers in the business today. And I believe you spoke to him about coming out of retirement. What did Freddie have to say about this?
I was trained by Goody Petronelli, who was regarded as one of the greatest trainers. I was trained by Floyd Patterson, who was regarded as one of the great trainers. I was trained by the Panamanian Oscar Checker, who was a great trainer. I was trained by one of the best British trainers of all time, Freddie King. And I was trained by Freddie Roach. So I've had 5 world-class trainers, and from every gym I've been in, and each great trainer I had, I picked up a little bit of knowledge. And I've got so much knowledge in there. So it all comes together. Now, this fight I'll be trained by my brother Pascal, who's been around my career and been in the gyms I've been in, and understands, the type of fighters that I am, and he'll just work with me, watch me, and coach me for this fight. So yeah, I spoke to. But I was over in LA with Freddie, and last Christmas time, and Freddie's a mate. Freddie's has got the great American attitude. Nothing's impossible. That's why we go over there, and that's why my success came from my time in America. Because in America, it's not like everything's possible, and if you get out there and work hard, you get the support. Whereas back here, you get, as you call them, people are saying this, people are saying that. Well, that's just the negative begrudgers and the losers who I don't listen to. I listen to the positive people. That's why I hang out and mix in company that is positive, because you're as good as the company you keep, and the company I'm in doesn't pick out the negative. So therefore, I don't hear it.
Yeah. Okay. In your mind, what makes Freddie so special? Why is he one of the leading trainers in the business today?
A lot of trainers have their attitude. It's trained their way. But when I came to Freddie has his style. And I said to Freddie, great, now let me try this. And Freddie said, right, let's work with that. And then Freddie said, that works or that doesn't work. He wouldn't say, no, do it this way. He'd listen to me and try what I want to try. And we both know if it works, we stick to that. And we both know if it didn't work, he wouldn't stick to it. So he's very open-minded. He's very intelligent, and he brings out the best in what you are, not what he thinks you should be. So he's not like, he hasn't got a certain one-dimensional way of training guys. He's open to he can help a fighter improve as a boxer. He can help a fighter improve as a fighter, because he's open to what you want to do, and open to what works to you. He doesn't have his own. Some fighters get in the ring and they go, oh, that's the Kronk style. Oh, that's the Philadelphia style. Oh, that's the South American style. Well, with Freddie, there's no styles. It's different fighters. He watches what they do and brings and works on what they do, and not pigeonhole them.
So he brings out the best of each individual fighter.
Yeah, and plus we had a bond. I mean, we fought in the same show together in Boston. We were both pros at the same time. He's got the Boston-Irish connection, which is, very strong with me. And we understand each other. And we just, we had a great arrangement. I met him. I spoke to him. I met him in Dublin. He came over for the guy to fight Lennox Lewis. I knew he was in LA. I knew he was trying to use Mickey Rourke's gym at the time. And I had a chat with him. We had a handshake, and that was it. We had no contracts or nothing. I just said, Freddie, this is the story. And he said, yeah, I'm on board. And we took it from there. Which took the pressure off both of us, because it was more of a friendship, a partnership, and we didn't have to rely on paper. We just, as per fight, we had an agreement and a handshake, and that was it.
Good. Okay. I mean, boxing history is littered with examples of all these greats, these legends that have come out of retirement, and it's all gone pear-shaped. I mean, just recently we've seen Ricky Hatton. His comeback didn't go the way he wanted it to. So what makes you so confident that for you things are going to be different?
Because I'm the Celtic Warrior. I am different.
Mm-hmm. So you say it's just you've got the self-belief. You've obviously got your brother training you.
I don't know about self-belief. And a lot of people believe in themselves and they couldn't bless themselves. No, I know my ability. I know what I can do, and I just get out and do it. And that's it. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. I want people to want to trying and working hard. And if you work hard, and you have a belief in yourself, and you have a certain amount of ability, then it should happen. And that's it. If it doesn't happen, that's okay. You give it 100%. I don't look, if you're saying, oh, fighters in the past came back and this guy got knocked out and that guy got knocked out, what's that got to do with me? Mm-hmm. That's them, it's not me.
Yeah, so you're saying every man's an individual, every man has his own story.
No, I'm not interested in hearing negativity and stuff like that, because it's what the begrudgers do, and it just rolls off like water off a duck. I'm not interested. I mean, I'm hoping to bring up something positive, in your little notebook you have there you're reading from, because at the moment you're just coming up with stuff that doesn't roll with me. It's not my kind of language, I only think.
No worries. Okay, so you're saying you want something a bit more positive. Okay, so we'll go back to.
No, I don't mind. It's up to you. I don't need it, but just for your sake, I think you should.
Okay, we'll go back.
People think you're a whinger. You know what I mean?
No, okay. I'll try to. I'm looking at some of the questions.
Flicking through the pages there.
Okay. Ripping the pages out of the book here.
Binning them all.
Okay, so let's go back to some of the highlights of your career. Okay, so you're a 2-weight world champion. That's something a lot of boxers aim for, something that so many people want to achieve. So what I want to ask you then is, which title went more to you? Obviously beating Chris Pyatt, which was obviously your first world title, or the second one where you beat Chris Eubank, as he was the more established, well-known fighter?
Well, each title I went for was the greatest title I fought for, and that began in 1988 when I won the Irish Middleweight Championship in the Boston Garden. That to me was great. I could retire with that. The next title I won was the Middleweight Championship of the United States, and that was the greatest title at the time. Then I went on and won some junior world titles, WBA International and WBC Continental, I think, Intercontinental junior world titles. I went on for them. Then when I won the middleweight world title, that was the greatest title. So each time you go for a title, it's the best, it's the end all and be all. And then all of a sudden then I didn't plan to move up a weight. I didn't plan, for the Eubanks title fight. That came about as through default. Mm-hmm. But that was the greatest title fight, even though I thought the others were, because of who it was, the publicity it got, and the fact that lots of people out there thought I wouldn't win, and lots of people out there had their facts which made sense and seemed to be carry some weight, why I wouldn't win. But then lots of people out there were wrong. But lots of people out there aren't in the ring fighting. There's only a handful of us in the ring fighting. That's why lots of people come to see us, because lots of people just don't know what they're talking about.
So, okay, the first fight, obviously you won, yeah, no dispute there. Some people say that was maybe down to the mind games you played beforehand. So how satisfying was it to beat Eubank the second time round, where basically he knew, so to speak, it was mind games first time round, so he couldn't use that as an excuse? So how gratifying was it then to beat him, say, if you like, fair and square, as some of the Eubank supporters might have said?
It was hard a second time round because I had to prove it wasn't a fluke. And it was hard a second time round because he wanted his title back. He wasn't happy. So I was more determined second time round, and I know he was more determined second time round. So I think second time round it was a harder fight, and it was very satisfactory because there was no doubt then, that I deserved to be the guy that took the belt from the two of us, and deserved to keep it, because I think it proved that I had his number. Not that I'm better than him in any way at all. I knew how to plan my fight and what tactics to use on the night to beat him, and I say that for all my opponents that I've fought. I'm never turn around and say I'm better than him. I just planned a better fight on the night, and second time round, I had to change the plan. So it's all about planning and being trying to outsmart your opponent, and obviously you need a certain amount of ability and fitness to go with that as well, and determination. But people that beat, I wasn't better than them. I was probably better prepared. I had a better strategy and planned my fight better.
But you don't think you're doing yourself a bit of a disservice there? You're
It's
just being modest for the listeners.
It's a fact, because that's why I'm confident I can beat Roy Jones. I told Roy Jones when I'm going to beat him. I said, people could say, oh, he's better than you, he's faster, he's quicker. And I said, look, let me tell you now, everybody can be beaten. Everybody can lose. It's knowing how to beat him. And I watched him and I know how to beat him. And he's sitting here beside me and he's going to disagree with me, and he should disagree with me. But on the night, when he realises it's not going his way, he'll know I've planned the fight well, and that's when the doubt will kick in. But it'll be too late.
It's all about the right strategy for the right man.
It's planning. It's like a football match, Sometimes, the recent Ireland-England game, on paper, England was just a better team. But Ireland, dug down deep and had a better game plan. And to me, we're looking unlucky not to win.
Yeah, good stuff.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
They're out there with the Irish pride. They fought with the Irish pride, but they also had a good plan, game plan.
Good stuff. And so, what do you remember then about those two big contests with Nigel Benn? Obviously, both of those ended in victory. Another name on your CV. How to say the acclaim of beating Ben? How does that compare to say beating Eubank?
It's made about equivalent. Nigel Benn, when I was in America, came over there and just upset the whole apple cart over there. I was US champion. I was ranked in the top 10 in the world. I was in line for a world title fight. It was the new middleweights that moved in. The Hagglers, the Leonard, the Hearns, the Rands had all retired. It was now about the Robbie Sims, the Doug DeWitts, Iran Barclays. These were the new champions, and I was the contender waiting to fight them. And this guy Nigel Benn arrived in the scene and knocked every one of them out and took the belts back to the UK. And he left me out in the wilderness. And I said, I'm going to get him one day. He's just set me back 5 years. So I had to more or less pack bags in the US, give up my career over there, and re-establish myself back in Europe, which wasn't easy, because it was Britain was where the power was, and I wasn't a British fighter. So the British promoters didn't want to let me in because they knew I could beat the British fighters. And what would I do? I'd take it back to America, or take it to Ireland, which wasn't good business for them. So I had to come over here with a reputation of being good enough to beat them, and trying to get myself in. And it took a while, and I did eventually break in. And it's a complete turnaround now, because I've got nothing but great support from the. I've always had the Irish support. I am Irish and I'm an Irish fighter, and I take that for granted. But I do always, naturally take it for granted. But I've always had the Irish support in the US, and I've always had the Irish support obviously in Ireland. But I have it in the UK as well. But in the UK, I've got the British support as well. The British fighting public have great respect for me, and it's great to have it, because they still call me. I'm still an Irish fighter, based in Britain, of course, and it was nice to get that. So that meant that they obviously liked my style of fighting. And
so who would you say has maybe had the better career between, say, Roy Jones and Bernard? Because obviously Jones won titles.
Without a doubt, Roy Jones had the greatest career of our generation. Outside the heavyweights, he's been the biggest name and the most successful out there. And
I'm saying that he did actually win the heavyweight title.
He did, yeah.
John Louise.
Yeah, John. Yeah, he's done it. He's gone out there and he's done it, and he's beat the guys. He's beat Hopkins. He's beat them all. So Bernard Hopkins, to me, is his own worst enemy. Bernard Hopkins can be effective, but he's so boring.
It's not an exciting fight by any means. Apart from maybe when he fought, I'd say, Kelly Pavlik, that was not too bad. He fought a different style.
He did. Like, he exposed Kelly Pavlik for what he was. Kelly Pavlik, was action fighter, but he also hadn't got the boxing brain. Yeah, and the boxing brain is something that that will always stay with you. And you can outsmart guys. And we used the term Bernard Hopkins. He old man them. Yeah, he just went out there and kept us cool like the kids. The young boy and the old boy, and that's it.
That's it. He's a bit of a spoiler, people say, but he knows how to nullify people's attacks. He uses it.
He's 48 years old.
Yeah.
Which one? They'll come out 100 miles an hour. He's 48 years old. He's an old man.
But
you got to fight him like an old man.
Yeah.
Don't fight him like a young man. Fight him like an old man.
Yeah, exactly. Because a lot of people have been saying, particularly Bernard Hopkins himself, that he's now. I think the phrase he said was, when he was around, it was like James Toney and there was Roy Jones, but now he can, I think, switch on the light in the house, I think was the phrase he used. And he's saying that because he was the oldest champion at 46 when he beat Jean Pascal, now again at 48 when he beat Trevoris Cloud. and he's saying obviously the 20 defenses of the middleweight title. He's saying now I'm ahead of Roy Jones. I've now surpassed him.
He wasn't good enough to beat Roy Jones in his day. He wasn't even ranked when I was in the States. I was US champion. He wasn't even ranked to fight me for the US title. So, you know, he's a great guy for his age. He's an amazing athlete, but he wasn't good enough to beat us in our time. If he was, he would have been in the mix. He's just around now, and he's just an exception, really to nature. He's beating good fighters, but he's not beating great fighters.
He doesn't have the big names on the CV.
But he hasn't beaten the big names. He's been he's been in against the big names, and he hasn't won the big fights. You know, so I can't. I'm giving him lots of credit for. He's an amazing guy for what he's done. Yeah. But there's a certain level. There's another level you step up, and when he had to step up that extra level, he didn't succeed. Yeah, and that's it. And there's only a handful of people who can achieve at that extra level. You know, I mean, guys can win titles and be great all their career, but there's another step up, and a lot of guys don't step up to that level, and it stays with them forever. They almost have a chip on the shoulder over it. You know, that's just the way it goes. Okay,
and you say obviously your era was an exciting era. That's when. For me, the super middleweight divisions, obviously it's not that old to begin with, but that's obviously when it really came alive. And today, I think again it's sort of gone through a boom period. You know, with the Super 6 tournament recently, you've got all the big names at the moment. So how do you think you would fare today if you were around in your prime against the likes of Kessler, Ward, Froch, all these guys? Where would you fit into the mix?
I think it was a better division when I was around than it is now. These guys are great guys. Are there? I've nothing but I love Froch. I love everything about Froch. A great admirer of his career and so on. But you know, it's a different generation. You know, maybe in our time they wouldn't have been as successful. I don't know. Maybe they would have been more successful than us. I don't really know. It's like, you know, it's the Marciano Muhammad Ali thing. Who would it be? Everyone's got opinions. Yeah. I'd like to think that, you know, if I was coming to my prime now, I believe I could have been world champion still. You know. But that's the way every fighter thinks. If any professional fighter turns around and says, I won't fight him because he could beat me, well then hang your gloves up because you're only wasting that time. You're not going to be a world champion and be a great fighter if you've no.
Well, faith in yourself. I'm sure yourself, along with a lot of people like Froch for that reason, he'll fight anyone, any place. You know.
Yeah, he would, and he was certainly good enough to beat any of us in our time. You know.
Steve, we spoke a bit obviously about Roy Jones, spoke a bit about your career, some of the highlights there, obviously your 2 world titles, but we see you're returning to the world of acting this year. Obviously you were in Lock Stock, we saw you pop up in the YouTube video, and this year you're going to be in a feature film called The Street. How did you get involved in that? How did that come up?
I'd done a film 2 years ago called The Kid, true story, very good story. Got a part in that. I met Nick Moran in London one day, who was obviously one of the actors in Lock Stock, and he had a chat with me. He said, "What am I up to?" And I said, "No, bits and pieces." He said, "Do you fancy doing another bit of acting?" He said, "Because Lock Stock was great, I was with him." I said, "Yeah, I do." So he gave me a part in this movie. It was really good fun. I enjoyed it. I went, "Yeah, I get a buzz out of this. I fancy this." It's yeah, it's no harm for the profile. So since then, I've had a lot of small things that come my way that actually was suited me, and I've just done them, nothing major. And from them, it's kind of becoming a little springboard to, little parts and roles that are slightly bigger and better. And it's a slow process, Unlike Vinnie Jones, who just started off at blockbusters, and he's been just doing great things since Lock Stock. But he's just a certain character, and he's great at doing his parts. He's the exception, but it's not as easy as people think. But if you enjoy it and you get a buzz out of it, then it's no harm.
I mean, obviously you've mentioned Vinnie Jones. He's obviously a famous sportsman come actor. I mean, is that maybe something you're looking for? I mean, how far do you want to take the acting? I mean, what's your goals acting wise? Is Hollywood maybe at the end of this?
I've achieved my goals in life. Right now, my only goals I have now is to stay alive as long as I can and survive, and try and be comfortable. If bits and pieces and movies come your way, and then they help your profile, they help you get work, they help pay bills, then it's great. But also personally, it's a satisfactory element of it too. I do enjoy it, and there's no harm. Plus, I'm meeting interesting people. I'm learning more about people in life and in other than boxing ring and other than other aspects of life I've experienced. So I enjoy it. Meet some good people, and I do. It's fun. It's something that's work. Not as obviously as hard as boxing, but it's something that I dedicate myself to it part-time, you know.
Yeah. And so what sort of preparations are you doing at the moment? Do you have an acting coach or?
No, well, yeah, it's all about becoming a persona. I mean, I say to people, you know, Steve Collins in the ring is not Steve Collins you meet outside the ring, so that's a form of becoming a different person. So you get little roles to come your way, and you look at it, and you say, yeah, I could be convincing as that individual, and then you take it from there. You know, it depends on where the setting is. Is it in London? Is it in America? Is it in, you know, then you work on, well, do you want an accent? Can I be convincing in that role? And then if all them boxes are ticked and you go, yeah, I can fill all them boxes. Yeah, I like that. You know, I hope I fancy this. And you then do an audition for it. Mm-hmm. And if they think, you know, you look the part and you're convincing, you know, they call you up and then it's a go.
And say the movie's called The Street, and I believe you're set to start filming in September. So what can you tell us a little bit about maybe the main story and a little bit about your character, this man you're going to be playing? I think, is it Frankie? I think your name is.
I read a brief piece on the script about 3 or 4 months ago, and I went, yeah, the whole atmosphere.
I mean, where do I sign?
The whole
put my name on the contract.
It's Stephen Kennedy's the guy that called me, and he wouldn't call me if he didn't think I suited the role. So I know he called me with the confidence that it suits me. I've briefly read it. Basically, it's a Dublin guy who's quite intimidating, got a bit of a form about him, and that's enough. That's all I need to know. It's something for me that I can just show up. Don't get me wrong, but something I can show up at and be, you know, and be accepted in that role. It's not the roles we have to really change a persona and become a different person altogether. So I'm comfortable with it, and I'm going to be in the company of some, you know, up and coming young actors.
Yeah, and I
think a couple of established actors.
Yeah,
as well. So,
I think we say Danny Dyer's in this. Yeah.
So I've got people I can you know, rub off and get some help from, and get some tips from, and a bit of guidance if I need it. So I'm looking forward to it.
And so how important is it then to you to be a convincing and a good actor? So you're not just a world class boxer, but also possibly a world class actor.
I everything I do, I try to do 100% and do right. You know, if it's, I mean, my passion is my horses. You know, I have my farm at home. Even when I'm doing fencing, fixing the fence, I can't. You know, I have to fix it right. I like to do things right. I like everything done right. You know, so if it's an acting role, if it's a job, wherever it is,
you're a bit of a perfectionist. Is that?
No, I'm not a perfectionist. Anything but perfectionist. I just try to do things right. You know, if I can't believe, if I don't want to do it right, then I won't do it. So what I do, I kind of enjoy doing, and I try and do it correct, and I enjoy, you know, what I do. But I don't enjoy, I try not to do.
Steve, yep, thank you very much for that. It's been an absolute pleasure, and good luck on behalf of everyone at Dublin City FM for your upcoming fight with Roy and your upcoming film. I hope everything goes well for you.
Thank you very much, and I want to thank my hometown of Dublin, and of course Ireland, and every Irishman with Irish roots all over the world. Thank you for your support.
We're right behind you, dude.